You might be feeling lost or facing a battle that seems unending. The darkness surrounds you, and every step feels heavier than the last. It's during these times that you wonder, where is God? Does He see me? Does He care? Perhaps you've asked that question more than once, wondering if you're truly walking alone. But let me tell you, no matter how distant He may seem, God's presence is closer than you think. He is always with you in ways that you might not recognize at first. What if I told you that God is speaking to you right now, but you simply haven't noticed the signs? The signs that He is helping you, guiding you, and walking alongside you every day. What if these signs were already in your life, waiting for you to see them? As we journey through the struggles and triumphs of life, we often forget to look for the subtle ways God shows up. He doesn't always work in grand displays of power. Sometimes His assistance comes in the form of small but significant signs. Moments of clarity, relief, or guidance when we least expect it. These signs might not be loud or dramatic, but they are powerful and undeniable. If you've ever experienced any of these moments, take a moment to reflect. Maybe the presence of God is more evident in your life than you realize. The first sign that God is helping you can often be felt when peace settles over your heart in the midst of chaos. You see, the world will throw all kinds of storms your way. Sickness, financial struggles, family issues, and more. And in the middle of all that turmoil, there's something that happens deep within you. A stillness, a peace that passes all understanding. It's as if your heart, which once raced with anxiety, finds calm in the midst of the storm. This peace doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from God, who offers a refuge when the world seems to be falling apart. That peace is a direct sign that God is with you, providing a shield against the chaos, even when you don't know how you're going to get through it. Another unmistakable sign of God's help is when doors begin to open in ways you didn't expect. How often have you found yourself facing a seemingly impossible situation with no clear path forward? You've prayed, you've hoped, and then, just when you thought all was lost, an opportunity appears out of nowhere. A job offer, a new connection, or an unexpected breakthrough. God is opening doors where none existed before. He is moving in ways that you can't always see, but His hand is undeniably at work. These divine opportunities aren't coincidences. They're God's way of showing you that He is guiding your path, leading you to the place where He wants you to be. A third sign that God is helping you is the way people start showing up in your life at just the right moment. Sometimes we get caught up in our struggles and forget that God works through people to help us. Perhaps a friend calls you out of the blue when you're at your lowest, or a stranger offers kind words that change the course of your day. These moments are not random. They are the hand of God, working through those around you to provide support and encouragement. You may have been feeling isolated or alone, but God sends people into your life to remind you that you are never truly alone. He works through them to lift you up and remind you that He hasn't forgotten you. One of the most powerful signs that God is helping you comes when you feel a renewed sense of purpose. There are times when life feels aimless and we question the direction we're heading. In those moments, God will often speak to us through our passions, desires, or talents, reigniting a sense of purpose that was once lost. He may place a calling on your heart, something you never thought possible, but it stirs something deep within you. This is not your own ambition, it is God, breathing life into you, showing you the path He has laid before you. When you feel that fire within your soul, that is God moving in your life, directing your steps, and helping you find your true purpose. Sometimes God helps us by teaching us valuable lessons through the challenges we face. These lessons may be painful or difficult to endure, but they shape us and refine us into the people we are meant to become. When we face struggles, it can be easy to become frustrated or discouraged. But God is using those very struggles to build our character, to stretch our faith, and to strengthen our resolve. When we look back at the difficult seasons of our lives, we realize that God was at work, molding us into something stronger, more resilient, and more capable. The struggle is not a sign of God's absence, but rather a sign of His presence, guiding us through the refining fire. Another sign that God is helping you is when you experience a shift in your perspective. Sometimes we become so focused on our own problems that we fail to see the bigger picture. But God has a way of opening our eyes, showing us that there is more to life than just our immediate circumstances. In moments of prayer, reflection, or even through the words of others, God shifts our focus and allows us to see life through His eyes. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible or overwhelming becomes manageable. We gain clarity, peace, and a sense of direction that can only come from God. This shift in perspective is a sign that God is actively at work, helping us see the world in a new light. You might experience God's help when you witness a sense of divine timing in your life. There are moments when things just fall into place, seemingly without effort. It's as if everything is happening exactly as it should, at the exact right time. These moments aren't coincidences. They are divine appointments. God is orchestrating the events of your life in ways that you may not even realize. It's in these moments that you can look back and see the undeniable hand of God guiding you through every step. It's not always easy to see in the moment, but when you reflect on the timing of your life, you begin to realize that God has been there all along, orchestrating events with precision. So, as you walk through your life, remember that God's help is often revealed in ways that are subtle yet undeniable. The peace, the open doors, the people who show up at the right time, the renewed purpose, the lessons, the shift in perspective, and the divine timing. All of these are signs that God is helping you. You may not always recognize them right away, but they are there, guiding you, supporting you, and loving you every step of the way. Keep your eyes open, for the signs are all around you. There are moments in life when you feel as though you are walking a path in the dark, searching for the smallest glimmer of light. You're tired, you're weary, and you wonder if you've been abandoned. But just when you feel like you can't go any further, something unexpected happens. You feel a presence beside you, a knowing that you are not truly alone. That presence is God, reaching out to you in your moments of desperation, even when you think you're beyond help. He is there, even when you can't see Him, when you can't feel Him. And as you keep walking, you begin to notice the signs that God is helping you. One of the most profound signs of God's help is the way He guides you, even when you don't know where you're going. We all face moments of uncertainty. Life doesn't always follow the plan we had in mind. We're faced with decisions, crossroads, and challenges that leave us unsure of the next step. In those times, we can't always see the bigger picture, but God does. He is a God of guidance, and He leads us along paths that may not always seem clear at first. You may have been standing at a crossroads, feeling lost and directionless. But somehow, when you looked back, you could see how each step brought you closer to where you needed to be. The way God works in your life is not always through direct answers, but rather through quiet nudges, gentle promptings, and the still, small voice that calls you forward. When you look back on the moments of your life that once seemed like mistakes, you begin to see the hand of God working through them. There are times when things don't turn out the way you planned, when you fail, when things don't go according to your will. But God uses those moments to shape you, to refine you, and to make you stronger. The mistakes and failures you experience are not the end. They are simply part of the journey. God doesn't waste any of those moments. Instead, He uses them to teach you lessons that can only be learned through experience. The scars you carry from past mistakes are not signs of defeat. They are signs of healing, signs of growth, and signs of God's ability to bring beauty out of brokenness. There is also a unique way that God helps us by revealing His promises in our lives. Throughout Scripture, God promises that He will never leave us or forsake us. He promises that He will provide for us, protect us, and give us peace that transcends understanding. But how often do we forget these promises when we face trials? How often do we let the storm clouds of life obscure the truth of God's Word? Yet, in the midst of the storm, God brings His promises to life. When you are at your lowest, when the weight of the world is on your shoulders, God whispers His promises to your soul. And in those moments, you begin to remember, He will provide, He will protect, He will give peace. Those promises aren't just words on a page. They are living, breathing truths that God brings to life in your own experience. When you feel overwhelmed, those promises stand as reminders that God's faithfulness never fails, and He will see you through. Another sign of God's help is the way He works in your heart and mind. You might find yourself suddenly filled with hope in situations where there was once only despair. You might find the courage to step forward, even when the fear seemed insurmountable. God is working in your heart, stirring up faith where doubt once reigned. When you feel the courage to keep going, to press forward in the face of uncertainty, that is God's help manifesting in your life. He strengthens you from within. equipping you to handle what you couldn't handle on your own. It's in those moments that you realize you're not relying on your own strength anymore. You are relying on His. It's a strength that isn't natural, a courage that doesn't come from within, but a divine power that flows through you, propelling you forward when you thought you had nothing left. God doesn't always give us what we want, but He always gives us what we need. This is another sign that God is helping you. Often our desires and our plans don't align with God's will. We want things to happen in a certain way, in our timing, but God knows what is truly best for us. He sees the bigger picture. You might be praying for something specific, something that you believe will bring you happiness or fulfillment, but God may be preparing you for something even greater. It's hard to accept, but sometimes the delay in your prayers or the answers that seem no are God's way of protecting you, refining you, and preparing you for something better. Trusting in God's wisdom, even when it doesn't align with our own, is one of the most powerful ways we can experience His help. When we surrender our desires to Him, we begin to see that His plans for us are far better than anything we could have imagined on our own. One of the most incredible signs that God is helping you is the way He uses your past to shape your future. Often we find ourselves burdened by the weight of our past mistakes, regrets, and hurts. But God takes all of that and uses it for His purpose. What you once saw as scars of shame, God transforms into testimonies of grace. What you thought were weaknesses, He turns into sources of strength. God has a way of redeeming every part of your story. No experience, no matter how painful, is wasted when it is surrendered to God. He takes the broken pieces of your life and weaves them together into something beautiful. As you look back, you'll see how each chapter, even the painful ones, played a part in preparing you for the future He has designed for you. You are not defined by your past mistakes, but by God's grace and His ability to redeem and restore. God's help is often most evident in the way He provides for us in times of need. We may not always understand how it happens, but somehow the provision we need always arrives at the right moment. It's in those moments that we are reminded of God's faithfulness, whether it's a financial breakthrough, a moment of unexpected favor, or the arrival of exactly what we needed at the perfect time. God is constantly providing for us. His provision isn't limited to our material needs. It also includes emotional and spiritual nourishment. When you are at your lowest, God provides the encouragement you need, the peace that surpasses understanding, and the strength to keep going. His provision is a clear sign that He is always present, always helping, and always faithful. When you begin to look for the signs, you realize that God's help is not a distant concept, but a daily reality. He is active in your life, speaking to you, guiding you, providing for you, and molding you into the person you are meant to be. Sometimes these signs come in moments of quiet reflection, when you realize that everything is falling into place. Other times they come in moments of crisis, when you experience a peace that shouldn't be possible. Regardless of the form they take, these signs are God's way of reminding you that you are never truly alone. He is with you, and He is helping you every step of the way. In the course of life, there are moments that make us feel as though we are walking a tightrope, trying to maintain balance while facing uncertain challenges. It often seems like everything is stacked against us, and yet, somehow, we make it through. There are times when you may feel like giving up, when the pressure seems too much to bear, and the road ahead appears too long to travel. It is precisely during these moments of exhaustion and despair that God's presence becomes most apparent, even if it doesn't feel that way at first. We often look for dramatic signs, flashes of light, booming voices, or miraculous interventions, but more often than not, God's help comes in a quieter, subtler form. It may be the quiet, gentle nudges of the Holy Spirit that guide you when you feel lost, the unexpected breakthrough at the last moment, or the inner peace that calms the storm raging within you. There are seasons of life that seem to stretch on endlessly, where it feels as though every step forward is met with 2 steps back. Yet, if you take a moment to pause and reflect, you'll begin to notice that despite the heaviness of life, God is still working on your behalf. His help doesn't always come when we want it or in the way we expect, but it is always present in ways that are necessary for our growth and well-being. These moments can sometimes be mistaken for coincidence or luck, but in reality, they are the fingerprints of God at work in our lives, weaving a tapestry of grace, mercy, and love. One sign that God is helping you is the way your perspective begins to shift. Life may seem overwhelming, and the obstacles before you may appear insurmountable. Yet as you walk with God, He begins to open your eyes and change the way you view your circumstances. Instead of seeing the challenges as roadblocks, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. The trials that once seemed like burdens become stepping stones to greater things. Your heart becomes more attuned to God's voice, and you begin to understand that He is working all things together for your good. This shift in perspective is not something you can do on your own. It is a gift from God. He changes your heart, refines your thoughts, and helps you see the world through His eyes, giving you the strength to endure, knowing that He is with you every step of the way. Another sign that God is helping you is the way He builds your faith through the trials you face. It is easy to trust in God when things are going well, when life is smooth and everything falls into place effortlessly. But true faith is built in the fire, in the moments when it seems like everything is falling apart. When you are stripped of your self-sufficiency and forced to rely on God, your faith deepens. The pain you endure and the struggles you face are not without purpose. They are tools in God's hands, used to strengthen and mature you. Each trial you go through is an opportunity to lean more fully on God, to experience His faithfulness in ways you never could in times of ease. When you come out of the other side of the trial, your faith has been refined and you are stronger, more resilient, and more aware of God's presence in your life. You might not fully understand why you went through certain struggles, but you can look back and see how they shaped you, how they led you to a deeper understanding of God's power and love. God also helps you by giving you the strength to endure when you feel like you have reached your limit. There are times in life when the weight of everything seems unbearable. You might feel emotionally drained, physically exhausted, or mentally worn out. But God, in His infinite grace, provides the strength you need to carry on. He doesn't promise that life will be free of hardships, but He does promise that He will never leave you. In the moments when you feel like you can't take another step, God's strength rises up within you, giving you the ability to persevere. This strength is not something you conjure on your own. It is the result of God's help, the supernatural power that sustains you through the trials. When you look back, you realize that what seemed impossible at the time was made possible because of God's presence in your life. You might not have the strength to endure, but God's strength in you is more than enough. Another sign of God's help is the way He draws you closer to Him, especially in times of difficulty. When everything seems to be falling apart, when you feel alone and desperate, it is in those moments that God gently invites you to draw near to Him. He calls you into a deeper relationship with Him, offering comfort, peace, and strength that can only be found in His presence. It is easy to drift away from God when life is easy, when everything is going well, but it is in the difficult moments that God beckons you to come closer. He wants to be your refuge and your strength, your source of hope and peace. As you seek Him in the midst of your struggles, you begin to experience His presence in ways that you never have before. The intimacy of that relationship becomes a powerful sign of God's help, as He becomes the anchor that holds you steady in the midst of the storm. God's help is also evident in the way He protects you from harm, even when you don't see it. There are times in life when we are unaware of the dangers around us, but God, in His infinite wisdom, protects us from things we can't even see. Whether it's a physical danger, an emotional threat, or a spiritual attack, God is constantly working to keep us safe. He watches over us, shielding us from harm, even when we're unaware of the threats that exist. The protection of God is not always visible, but it is always present. There are countless times in our lives when we can look back and realize that God kept us from disaster, even when we didn't know it. His protection is a sign of His love and care for us, and it's a reminder that He is always watching over us, even in the unseen moments. In addition to His protection, God often helps us by providing us with the resources we need at just the right moment. It's easy to get caught up in our worries, constantly wondering how we're going to make ends meet, how we're going to handle the next challenge, or where the answers will come from. But time and time again, God proves that He is faithful to provide. He meets our needs in ways that we couldn't have anticipated, whether it's through the generosity of others, unexpected opportunities, or divine intervention. God knows what we need before we even ask, and He provides in ways that are tailored to our specific situation. It may not always come in the form we expect, but God's provision is always sufficient. He gives us exactly what we need, exactly when we need it, and it's a sign that He is working in our lives, even when we can't see how. There are also times when God helps us by giving us a sense of clarity in the midst of confusion. Life is filled with difficult decisions, moments of uncertainty, and times when we feel completely lost. We often struggle to know which direction to take, and the choices before us seem overwhelming. But God, in His wisdom, brings clarity to our minds, helping us to see the way forward. It's not always an immediate answer or a loud voice from heaven, but rather a quiet assurance that settles in our hearts. When we are confused and unsure, God provides the wisdom we need, guiding us in the way we should go. The clarity He provides is a sign that He is helping us navigate the complexities of life, and it gives us the confidence to move forward, trusting that He will direct our steps. And then there are the moments when God helps us by simply being with us. Sometimes all we need is the quiet presence of God beside us, offering comfort and peace. There are times when words cannot express the pain we're feeling, and nothing in the world can change our circumstances. But God is with us in those moments, offering His presence as the greatest comfort we could ever receive. His nearness is a sign that He is helping us, even when it feels like nothing else is. His presence in our lives brings peace that transcends understanding, a peace that allows us to rest in the knowledge that He is always with us, no matter what we face. As you reflect on your life and the challenges you've faced, take a moment to look for the signs that God is helping you. You might not always see them in the moment, but when you look back, you will begin to notice how God has been there all along. His help is not always loud or dramatic, but it is always present. He is working in the background, moving in the quiet moments, providing for you, protecting you, and guiding you. The signs are all around you, and they are a testament to God's faithfulness and love. In every season of life, whether in moments of triumph or despair, God's help is always present, often in ways we least expect. His guidance, strength, protection, and provision are seen not just in the grand moments, but in the quiet, everyday ways He sustains us. As we journey through life, we may face times of doubt, pain, or confusion, but if we open our eyes and hearts, we will recognize the signs of His unwavering presence. From the shifting of our perspective to the strength He grants in our weaknesses, God's help is a constant thread that weaves through our lives. Even when we can't see or feel it, His help is there, always leading, protecting, and providing. As we reflect on these signs, we are reminded that God's love and faithfulness never falter, and His help is always near. Keep trusting, for He is with you every step of the way.